Hi, welcome to educator.com and another beginner's lesson in Adobe Illustrator CS6. Today we're going to talk about appearances, and I don't mean keeping up with the Joneses for appearances sake. I'm talking about things you can do with your objects. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? Now let's talk about targeting object attributes. So what I've done is I have some hidden objects, and we're going to do that just with the appearance panel. Instead of going to the stroke and fill panels, we're going to do this completely from here. So now I'm going to set a stroke weight of 10, and the color I shall make blue. Alright, now let's go down to the fill, and let's make this our orange fill. Okay, so I am done with that. So now let me check. Select my circle here, my invisible circle, and we will make that 14 point stroke, and let's make the fill red. Okay, so we're done there, and I'm going to select my polygon, and let's make that stroke yellow and 14 point here. And let's make the color light blue. Okay. And that is how you target the object attributes. Ooh, that's kind of big, 14 point. So at least it's checked off. Okay. Now let's go into adding multiple attributes. So I go into appearances again, and now in the appearance panel you have quite a few selections that you can make. You can add a new stroke, you can add a new fill, and you can add new effects. So up top is Illustrator effects, and on the bottom is Photoshop effects. Now, everything you make as an Illustrator effect is going to be completely editable. But if you make it a Photoshop effect, that means you rasterize it, and it's not going to be as editable as it would be in Illustrator. Okay, so that is what happens here. So let me just show you the rest. So here you can clear appearance, here you can duplicate or select the item, and here you can toss stuff away. And again, we always have menus. So most of it duplicates what I just said, but so you have two ways to reach those. Okay, so for right now, I'm going to add a new stroke. It helps if I select the object. So let me do that. Okay, now because what we're showing was what was previously selected. Okay, so now I'm going to add a new stroke, and you see the stroke appears down the bottom. Well, actually the stroke appeared up top because that's what's selected. Selected above it, and I'm going to change that color to yellow. So you see it's on top there. But I can now, these in the appearance panel acts like layers, because I can bring this. Let me control that and control this. I can bring this down to below the stroke, so now it's below the stroke. I'm going to leave it there because it does make a difference for my purpose for what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to go to effects, and then go to path, offset path, and you see the offset is at 10 points. So let's just preview that, and you see it goes outside the border. So I want it to go inside, so I'm going to just put a minus and then preview it. And it's exactly where I want. So I'm going to leave it there. Now let's go to the circle, and now I'm going to select the fill, and I'm going to select add new fill. So I've added a new fill, and I'm going to make that orange. Okay, so the fill is the same color. So now I'm going to add an effect. Go to path, offset path. It's 10 point. So I want to make that larger. Actually, I want to make it smaller, but the number is going to be larger. So actually, let me show you two ways. So I'm just going to do 60, which is not really what I want to do, but I just want to show you what happens. So see, it goes all the way around. Okay. Now I'm going to do minus 60, which is what my intention is, and preview that. And now I got it nice in the center, almost like a bullseye. Okay. So now let me show you something else here with the stroke. So I'm going to add a new stroke. Okay, so that's on top, and it's still and it's blue. So what I'm going to do is to change the color, to white, and I'm going to make that smaller and make this an 8-point stroke. Now this is a trick I use a lot, to put a stroke inside a stroke to kind of create an outline effect. So that is that there. Now let's go to the polygon tool, and I'm going to add another stroke to this one. Okay, now previously we've just been selecting the strokes, but you can see that this is highlighted, so I can double click here and I can get full access to the stroke menu. So now what I want to do here, before I do that, is to make some changes to it. So I'm going to click black, and I'm going to make this 8-point. Now let me make it a little bit smaller. Okay, 4-point. And so now I'm going to click my stroke again and choose dash line. So 12 points, and the gap is probably 12 points also, so I'm going to leave that the way it is because it serves my purpose. Hit the escape key to get out of there. And now that's how you add multiple attributes to an object. Okay, now let's go to live effects. And live effects are what I talked about before, even though I just called them effects, but these are live effects that we can use here. So again, the top is Illustrator vector effects, and the bottom is Photoshop effects. So we're just going to deal with the vector effects for right now. Alright, so let me choose my square. Go to 3D, extrude and bevel, and up comes our 3D extrude and bevel options. Now, not only that, but there are more options. So if I click more options, all this other stuff appears. So just give me more, give me more, give me more. I know, I hear you, so now you got it. Okay, so let me show you a preview. This is the default, so let me show you what it looks like at default. So here you have a 3D version of the square. Now you notice that the highlight line, this is still the original square or rectangle that I created. So if I click off, and that's always available. So you can see there's some lighting here, so I can choose the lighting. I can choose where the lighting goes. So now I can make the light on this side, so there's shadow on this side. I can choose how it looks, how it rotates in space. Now I can do this numerically here, but hey, I'm an artist. Why do I want to use numbers? So, but if you are inclined to use numbers and you know that part, you can select those exact proportions here. Proportions and measurements and angles, all kinds of stuff. All right, so let me get this to where I like it. Okay, I like the way that looks, so I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to change anything else for now, but you do have lots of flexibility to change things. So if I want to view this as a wireframe, I could. Want to view it with no shading, that's what it looks like with no shading. Diffuse shading, and back to plastic shading, which is what we started out with. Okay, so I'm going to click OK here, and now let's move to our circle. So again, I'm going to choose Effects, 3D, Extrude and Bevel. Let's preview that, and now let's choose a bevel. Let's choose a jaggy bevel. Okay, something's happening I can see here, but we have to select off to, we have to approve it because there's so many guidelines I can't see what's happening. So let's just take that off, and now you see that the bevel is kind of jagged and goes inside. So that's the bevel. Let's go again, select the polygon, Effects, 3D, Extrude and Bevel. Let's move this over so we can see what's happening. Okay, let's go to the bevel again. Let's just choose Classics, and let's choose the depth. Well, let me show you how far this can go. So that's like 1,000. Let's do a preview and see. I mean, this is no penny ante bevel effect here, so you can go pretty extreme with it. Okay, so let's put this back to something manageable. Let's say a little bit more. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay. Okay, so you can see what's happening here. I can't get rid of that. So in any case, well, actually I can come back to it because you can edit. Everything's completely editable. So let me just move this out the way so you can see. Well, I do have to have the appearances. So let's start this again. So I have to deal with that. So 3D, Extrude and Bevel. We saw Classic. Let's see what Complex looks like. And let's